but we've got approximately 200 horses in our care.
Trying to find the right answers and not just following what was done in the past, because if Sen followed what was done in the past in the nutrition world, then I don't think we would exist today.
Our three main purposes are education, rehabilitation and advocacy.
Welcome everyone to episode 105 of the Sen Nutrition Podcast. You're with your host Bryan today, and today's podcast is called Rescue Horse Care and Nutrition, Project Hope, Horse Welfare Victoria, and I am joined by Renée Neubauer, the Vice President of Project Hope, and we're here to discuss everything about horse welfare and management. So there's a very interesting statistic that we touch on about why horses are surrendered, and as Project Hope is an organisation and being a registered charity, how they are structured in what they do and how they do it with the rescued horses. Also, how they have become part of Sen's ambassadorship program and the way Sen is linking in with Project Hope to raise more awareness about rescue horses. So how are you, Renée?
I'm really good, thanks, Bryan, and certainly welcome the opportunity to talk about nutrition and horse welfare with you.
I'm so excited to have you on, and we've got a nice long-standing relationship in terms of you having success on the Sen feed and supplements, but also this wonderful charity that we've been made aware of in Victoria particularly, and up here in Queensland we didn't know much about Project Hope in the sense that they have been pretty major impact on the horse landscape in Victoria in terms of helping and rescuing horses. And I'm so glad to have you here today, and thank you for your time. And Renée, I'll just let you introduce yourself first as the Vice President.
I've been with Project Hope Horse Welfare Victoria almost 23 years. The organisation itself started back in 1976, and it was with a lady called Val Collingwood, and coincidentally she was from Wallan, Victoria, and guess where I live? Wallan. Which is pretty incredible. But she came across a really neglected horse that was supposedly very aged, but in fact he was only 3. Unfortunately, he died from a massive worm infestation, and Val wrote into Riders magazine to show the story of what she had come across, and she was really wanting to proceed to start up a group called Project Hope. The horse was named Hope. So that's where it began, was from a horse that died. The lady called it Hope. And then in 1993, our organisation became a registered incorporation and changed its name to Project Hope Horse Welfare Victoria. And then in 2005, we became a registered charity and obtained gift deduction status from the ATO.
No, that's fantastic, Renée. When we first linked up, I was actually blown away at how long the charity has been going for and the amount of members you have. How many active members do you have at the moment?
We've got approximately just around 460 financial members with Project Hope, and many of those are long-term members like myself that just keep supporting them year in and year out. So, we'd obviously like to grow that base a little bit more, but 450 financial members, which is pretty good. And in terms of horses in our care, we've got approximately, I'm sorry to say approximate because our database changes daily with the ones that we are surrendered, but we've got approximately 200 horses in our care. We've got 19 horses that are in our short-term care. That means that they've just come into the organisation and they're going through a complete rehab management, both physically and on their nutrition level as well. So it's a lot of horses and a lot of people to manage, but we've been going for nearly 50 years, so we're doing something right.
That's simply amazing. Even for your whole existence, it'd be more than a few thousand horses saved or rescued to better homes, you'd say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the impact that we make, and it's not just on the ones that are surrendered into our organisation, because, a big part of our volunteer work is actually educating and helping people to have them keep their horse in their possession. Obviously, there are some situations where the horse has to come out immediately because of, health issues, and that can be for the horse or for the owner. But certainly our first attempt is to educate the person and to assist that person to change things for the horse's environment.
Yeah, as we can see in the horse industry landscape, not only in Victoria but all other states, horse welfare is very at the forefront in a lot of industries. At SEN, we're involved in many horse industries, including the racing industry, and it's nice to see some of those governing bodies restructuring some of that prize money that the horses earn into the off the track or those sort of programs. But where you guys come in is probably further down that way, or that chain, if you can say that.
Yeah, I would definitely say we're sort of at the bottom end of the horse industry, because we have to deal with the fallout of a lot of, horses in bad situations. But, what we aim in our work is to work with the 5 domains, and that is nutrition, environmental, health and mental state of that horse. So we need to be able to follow the international best practices to ensure that we're giving the right support to the horse. And, with Vic Racing, they also lend us a helping hand with certain programs that if horses are off the track and they fall onto hard times and we end up with them, they certainly do help and advise and give some support to us as well, which is great. And that's been, a collaborative venture that's taken a few years to grow, but there's a really good respect and trust both ways with Vic Racing and ourselves, which is good.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. Like the times are changing in terms of we're looking at horses not only just ending their career and that's it. They've got a future life beyond that. They are useful for many areas. What do you see? Say we look at an off the track thoroughbred. Do you see a lot rehomed into other different disciplines?
Yeah, we do. We've actually got one ourselves here at our property. We've had actually 2, and there are certainly a lot more disciplines that they can go into. But a lot of what we get, unfortunately, Bryan, do fall into a paddock companion.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate, but we do have quite a lot of equestrians that do require that companion to their horse, and one from Project Hope Horse Welfare really fits the bill nicely.
Yeah, and what I do love about your story and your organisation is it's that whole rounded care. It's not just you've got the horse, here you go, do your best with it. You want to help that member or the owner understand the nutrition, the management and everything that involves in keeping that horse in the best possible condition. And as you said, some of them are in some of the worst conditions of their lives, and that's why they've come to you guys. Is there a particular protocol you guys follow for the difficult ones?
We get notified by a community member that obviously comes across a horse that they think needs help, and that's how the first interaction starts. From there, a case is raised for that horse, and one of our trained reps will go out and do their own investigation. And we are very successful because, we don't wear badges. We are just volunteers that go out and try and help people and horses. And we educate and negotiate for the best outcome for that horse. And quite often, Bryan, it is for that horse to be surrendered to our organisation. And from there, it goes into a short-term care process. And that can be anywhere from, 4 weeks to a year for some of our horses to stay in short-term care, depending on their, their health and also their age. Because, we do get some really young ones and they go out into our growing up program. Those ones are really long-term when we get, foals or weanlings. So they take on a whole different aspect with our group completely that go on for years.
Yeah, and probably my next question is, how do you choose your members, or do they have to pass a knowledge test or something with their horse care?
General members, we aren't at all critical. Anyone can join up and be a member, but our horse reps that will go out and do these on-site calls, they go through training. We have quite a rigorous training program that we run, I would say nearly 3 or 4 times a year, and we get our members that are interested to do this frontline work, and I will almost say we are first responders for these situations. So you've got to be aware of, their safety as much as the horse and the owner that you're talking with. So we go through quite a stringent education process for our reps so that they are fully equipped to go out there and handle it. We always go in twos, and we also do a lot of refresher courses along the way. And look, some people at the end of the training might say, no, I can't do this, and that's okay. That's okay. But we do have literally all 4 corners of our state of Victoria covered with our reps, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's amazing. And how many members do you have?
We have approximately 450, 460 financial members. Okay. They help us with when we run events. I mean, Equitana was, a big one to do for the organisation. And we do rely upon our members to come out and help us at events. So as well as doing fundraising. So we do require, we do need a lot of new members to come through because some of them get burnt out pretty quick because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, just the sheer scale and how you describe how sort of that protocol is and getting the rescued horse into the right environment in that short care program, then determining to go onto its new home. It would be a lot of work in that sense, organising everything.
Yes, it is quite a process, and that's why we have 3 meetings a month within the executive committee and the general committee, and that's broken up into 3 different types of meetings that we have, for governance, for the horses, and then our general committee. So we're very structured in how we operate and keep track on the horses. And also, we need to understand what the major causes of our horse reports and surrenders are. And it was interesting just collating all the figures from the last financial year that the largest percentage of horse reports and surrenders was from deceased owners, from deceased estates.
Oh, wow.
That's what I thought too. I went, oh, wow, too, because before it used to be mostly, retired racehorses, whether that's from, harness or gallop.
Yep.
But, and there seems to be quite a trend that is going to continue for quite some time. And whether that's got something to do with the development and the suburban sprawl out into rural areas, lots are getting broken up. You can't keep your horses there anymore and they get sold off to developers. But deceased owners is actually the largest part of our volunteer work. But also another thing that's changed in the last year is that like nearly 20% of our cases involve horses of 5 or more.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. And that's a real struggle to cope with because generally we used to get maybe 1 or 2 as a case, but now it's actually 17% of our causes of horse reports and surrender is horses 5 or more.
Yeah, gee, you learn something new every day because I wouldn't have picked the deceased owner as one of the main reasons above the racing industries.
And I guess that's got a lot to say for people planning their estates and what happens with their animals when they go. And that's certainly, as I said, it's an area that I think is going to continue for quite some time. and it's a growing trend. And yeah, with our last year's, because we keep data on absolutely everything,
Yep.
Right down to domestic violence. That is another cause of why we have horses reported and surrendered to us, as is mental health and owners aged over the age of 75.
Wow, that's so interesting. And
Yeah.
I think the reasonings as that urban sprawl, like the land value of these particular places where there are horses and the city does encroach on it, it must be too resisting to the family that's left to not continue with the horses, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. And it's not uncommon that they get to a point where they don't even bother to consult with any welfare agency. They just have the horses picked up and taken to the knackery.
Yeah, and you just can't control sometimes that mindset.
No, you can't.
And
no.
And we're just so grateful that you guys are around to pick up the pieces and try and give these horses a happy and loving home that they deserve.
Yeah.
And
well, our three main purposes are education, rehabilitation, and advocacy, because, we're quite strong on the advocacy as well, because a lot of our work has got to do with submissions to improve equine welfare laws. We recently put in for the Victorian plan, which was for the new protection laws, which will change POCTA. Yeah, which is great because that actually now recognises sentience for animals, which is great.
Oh, nice.
Which is good. And also for the Animal Welfare Task Group, we were involved with that to help change some of the policies of land transport of livestock. We do quite a lot on the advocacy side, which is really important to, look at different policies and legislation within the framework of government. So that's another big part of it, as is we recently joined the Emergency Incident Management Network. So that's to assist, large animals that need rescuing. That's another issue as well.
It's amazing work you guys do. And when I was alerted to the fact that how big your impact has on horse welfare in Victoria, I spoke to our team in the office and I said, we have to become involved. And Renée, you gave me all the information. We digested it and we said, how can SEN help your organisation in some capacity or another, not only monetary, but also helping members understand how to feed or have our nutrition advice offered, in the hope that the foundations of how people feed are according to the physiology. And I think I might touch on this. If this is the first time you've listened to the SEN Nutrition podcast, as we started, it's over 100 episodes old. And what we try and do as a nutrition company is not only educate our listeners on nutrition, but the whole body systems and a whole holistic approach to a horse. So including that environment, the training, the management, and teach the proper foundations to help limit the need of extra subs or medications, and then just help simplify the diets of all horses so that they feel good according to their body systems. So we looked at what we could do, and we offered the Project Hope organisation to become part of our ambassadorship program. And the aim was to help give back, like not just say, hey, swap to our products and that, but if you were feeding a supplement and we had a similar supplement in the range, you could easily look into it and even reach out, and we'll try and help you integrate that. But we're very grateful to team up with an organisation that has been running for nearly 50 years, has made a huge impact, and it's just a feel-good initiative to help better the lives of as many horses as possible that have been put into difficult situations. So we can't thank you enough, Renée, for reaching out in that initial steps.
Well, it was a bit of a no-brainer from my end, because I had been using SEN products previously on our own horses, and it was just timely that we ended up taking in a new little surrender. And that's when I went over and spoke to you guys at the stand and asked for help. And, I guess the rest is history, and how you've just explained that, you have come out to support us with the ambassadorship. And in our history, we've never had a horse nutritional company or feed company do this for us. So we are blown away and very grateful for the opportunity to tick the box for being your ambassador for the product. Thank you.
We can't thank you enough for the opportunity, and it's that support that we hope to offer and keep it growing so we can impact and help out in as many ways, not just monetary. And Renée, I think you made a good impact on us, and especially Peter, because I think he actually said this line that you said to us at Equitana in the podcast, and you described Sen as it doesn't only take away the stress from the horse's guts, but it de-stresses the owner too by having a happier horse. And Peter loved it. I think we said it in one of the episodes previously, but it rings true. It's what we want to try to achieve with Sen. We want to have a simplified feeding program that has an impact on the horse's health. And we know that feeding according to physiology works. So what does that mean? The horse has a microbiome that has quadrillion, like that's millions and millions and millions of microbes that live there, and they thrive off fiber. So centering around our nutrition, around the gut health, the connection to all body systems involves the gut, including the brain, which can influence behavior, anxiety, the way the horse copes with stress, and even their ability to learn and comprehend can be influenced by the health of their gut health and the microbiome. And Sen Nutrition, with our feeding program, centers around this, and we've been doing it since 2014. We're Australian made and owned. We know recently some of the biggest players in the industry, in the feed industry, have been bought out, and we're staying close to our roots. We're family owned and run, and we want that whole holistic approach to feeding horses the right way. And that's not even promoting our products at the start. We want people to choose the right amount of hay or pasture or roughage to ensure that natural digestive physiology is met with the horse, and then we build it up from there. And Renée, you have a perfect example of this in the form of a horse named Ollie.
Yeah, he liked to think he was a horse. He was only a mini, and he certainly acted like a horse. He didn't act like a little 7.5-hand miniature. But Ollie was one that was really threw a lot of curveballs at me when we first got him. He was that badly emaciated that there was no fat left in his body whatsoever. Like, the vet has never seen a horse that badly emaciated where there was no fat. He was starting to break down. So it was a really intense critical care unit here for about a month and a half with Ollie. And the thing that it really appealed to me the most is how Sen really loves to have the gut and the brain and everything together. And it certainly suited our criteria because we firmly believe, fibre is the best thing to put through a horse's gut. That's how they've been able to survive, for thousands and thousands of years out in the wild. They don't rely upon, usually food given to them or grain. So, love your philosophy behind it. And look, with Ollie, because he did present with a lot of issues, and it wasn't just his guts, it was his skin, it was his teeth. He had a lot of underlying health issues.
I think you sent me his blood results as well, and they were not they were very messed up. Really messed up.
And the vet looked at them and said, well, I really don't know how this is going to go with him, but, we can only try. And obviously, the first thing was to gently introduce, fibre into his diet because he hadn't had any for a long time. So we started off with really small amounts with your lupin pellet.
Yep. And that's that high fibre lupin pellet. I think it's around 30% fibre, and the best thing is that it's homegrown in Western Australia or Australian, grown from the farmers, and
brilliant.
Sold all over Victoria. And that's been a staple in many diets, including Ollie's.
Yeah, well, and particularly, for the aged and the neglected, being able to soak that product was fabulous because he had a number of teeth. His back teeth were missing, and that then caused his teeth from his upper jaw to grow down, and he had holes in his jaw down to his bone. So eating was painful for him, and we believe that was the main reason why he lost so much condition, because it was just so painful for him. But with the Sen-Lupin pellets, which we could soak and we could put a lot of what we needed to get into him, initially was an absolute game changer. And then obviously we incorporated other things into his diet once his guts were churning over, because for the first 4 days, I think he only had like 3 or 4 manures. That was it.
Wow.
That was it. We thought, that's really bad. But then as his guts started churning, I was so excited to go out there at like 3 o'clock in the morning and, find 2 manure piles instead of 1 or none. So I knew as soon as his output was improving, things were starting to happen in his guts. So that was a really, really cool thing to have happen.
Yeah, and the fibre started working in his gut, which is what you want to promote after being, I think he would have been starved of fibre before that stage.
Yes.
I think you also added the Sen Extra Balance, which is the live probiotics and digestive support.
Yes, did that, and stepped in the other products as we went, and obviously with the Extra Balance as well as the Sen Oil, that Sen Oil really made him bloom and blossom.
Yeah, not only is it high in omega-3, it gives that extra calories without the sugar and starch.
Correct.
So it's
correct.
And I think you saw a dramatic improvement in such a short period of time for Ollie.
We did, and I really diarised it and photographed it over the time frame that I had him, and it was dramatic. And as you say, with the oil, we were able to get that energy into him, and that just snowballed into him becoming more and more of being able to go out and on a lead, then start picking at grass. He hadn't picked on grass, I don't think, for over a year or maybe longer. And that was a real joy to watch him eat grass once we got his teeth, sorted out as well. But then he just started championing along. And in the end, little Ollie had free range for our property. He would come up and visit us in the Alfresco area, and then he'd say, "Well, no, it's time for my lunch. I better go back to the stables." And he was on such a routine. He knew exactly what was going on. And unfortunately, I would have loved to have kept him here, but our fencing isn't set up for miniatures. He would just go in and out of every paddock and visit all the other horses, and then come later in the afternoon, he walks up the hill and puts himself in the stable.
and for our listeners that would like to see that progression, I'll link one of the posts that Renee did of the documentation of Ollie and the turnaround in his condition and the skin condition. He had pretty severe rain scald.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and he did. As we know, the gut environment of the horse, 70% of the immune system resides in there. So getting that gut health right will have a big impact on the immune system. Getting that fibre from the Sen-Lupin pellet, the Sen Extra Balance, the oil all plays a role in helping that immune system regulate itself. And as Renee has described, it is an amazing turnaround for Ollie. And where does he reside now?
Gone on to his what we call our long-term carer, his home, and he has moved up to the Wood End area of Victoria, and he has found himself an absolute wonderful home that is set up in the Paddock Paradise system, which will suit him down to a T. Plus, he's also a really good mate of another little pony there. He's about 9 hands. And unfortunately, his little pal had passed away. So this person was looking for a companion for her little pony. And Ollie and him have just buddied up as best friends, and they spend their days hanging out together, grooming each other, and having a great. It is a great story. It really is a good story.
Yeah, and the success stories probably keep you guys motivated. Not that you need the motivation, but it just helps drive the whole organisation to keep bringing in the unfortunate horses, or to try and find the unfortunate horses and give them a better life.
Yeah, and look, sometimes a better life for some horses, Bryan, is euthanasia. Yeah. I know being it's you have to be realistic, and sometimes that is the best welfare outcome for some horses, and it's not one that we ever like to do, and we don't make those decisions ourselves. We always have a vet that consults with us to make those decisions, because we don't take those ones lightly at all. But sadly, that's a part of it. And, even for some horse owners, they've made that decision themselves already, but they can't bring themselves to actually follow through on it. Okay. And that's another thing that we do. We will assist and be there for that horse when it is euthanized if the owner can't be there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So that's another little helping hand that we do as well. We prefer them obviously to stay on property, but some people, they can't even cope with the horse being put down on their property, so we have to, as long as they're in a condition that can be transported, they then come to a short-term carer's house. They're given lots of TLC, and then we have to make a hard call. But that's the downside of it. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does happen, it does impact. But as you said, all the good stories keep people in the organisation to continue, and that's why we've been going for 47 years.
Yeah, you guys are doing something right. If the organisation has been going for that long, and the horse community has to be so thankful and grateful for your involvement, because there's some tough decisions that have to be made. And when you look at how a horse is designed, they're not the most well-designed creatures in terms of their body structure, and what they're prone to from mismanagement, and the stress of a home that is not suiting them can play havoc with their whole body systems, including that gut. And you guys have to reverse that and then get them into the best care they can. And we're just so very thankful for the work you do, and I'm sure if all the horses could talk, they would just thank your whole organisation, because it's such a good story, but a very good initiative on top of that, because it's just amazing. We've got a good model now to catapult us for the next 50 years. So what we're doing isn't broken, so there's no point fixing anything. We're doing something right most of the time, which is a good thing. And as you said, putting horses into stressful situations, I think, unless they're living out in the wild on hundreds of thousands of acres, how they're wired. Finding that balance to and to work in accordance with the 5 domains of what a horse needs, and following best practices. And it comes down to 2 things with horses: it's management and nutrition. Yep. Management can be what happens in the paddock, but it also covers the training aspect of it, which is a whole other issue. And that's what we do as well. We actually engage professional horse behaviouralists to make assessments on our horses as well. That's all part of the short-term care. Yeah, that's simply amazing. And you guys are not taking any shortcuts with it, which really impresses ourselves at SEN. And even going back to what you said, nutrition and management, I can give our listeners an example of common conditions in horses that actually mirrors what Renée just said. So ulcers in horses are due to 2 things, either nutrition or management. So if you can get both of those aspects right, you can help lower the risk of ulcers in horses. And that's just one example of a common condition that we come across weekly or daily here at SEN. And we've got nutrition profiles to really help lower that risk. And then it's up to the horse owner to manage that horse properly in their training and their environment, because stress plays a part on the causation of ulcers as well. So it's just that whole holistic view of the horse. We don't just look at one part and assume that will fix it, because there's many different body systems that impact each other. And
you're right there. There's many layers.
We're so aligned in our values. And here at Sen, we want to continue to support Project Hope as best we can in a good capacity. And I think one way to do that is to help gain exposure to your organisation, and then obviously help get more members involved.
Well, that's kind of the key for us to continue, is to have, someone like yourself and with Sen giving us a little bit more of a platform to be known, because we just quietly normally go about our work and hope that we get supported. But now with you guys on board, it's a new layer to us to get exposure, but also, hopefully it exposes more of the work that we do, but also exposes the fact that there still are a lot of horses out there that need that management and need that nutrition attended to correctly. And in the perfect world, we would love every horse to be managed and have the right nutrition. But in the meantime, we've got to educate people.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. It's no different to your own kids. You got to educate them. You have to manage them, and you've really got to be a voice and advocate for them.
Yeah, especially leading by example and having that positive mindset to every aspect of the horse's life, and trying to find the right answers and not just following what was done in the past. Because if Sen followed what was done in the past in the nutrition world, then I don't think we would exist today.
No, I don't. Well, I don't think you and I'd be having a conversation.
Correct.
Because
Correct.
That wouldn't have worked. And certainly, and that's one thing. You've got so many amazing podcasts out there where we're releasing them, one a week out onto our public Facebook page for Project Hope Horse Welfare Victoria. We've got basically, almost 2 years of podcasts to get out there. We can't bombard them too much. But, for certain times of the year, there are some amazing podcasts out there that help horse owners address certain issues. And, obviously now with winter, there's going to be some issues with skin and rain scald and hoof conditions and all that sort of thing. So I'll be pulling some of those podcasts out and putting them up there.
Yeah, and the aim is for the podcast is to educate, but also try to stir some thinking around the horse management. It doesn't necessarily have to align with our products, but just look at the theories on ways to help the horse naturally and through nutrition. And then if listeners or members want to reach out to Sen, feel free. We have the office number through the emails. No question is a dumb question. We get daily phone calls of people just wanting to pick our brains about certain conditions their horse may have, and solutions that we have found through our products and ways to support that. And by teaming up with Project Hope, we want to give the members especially the education, and then show what's in our range that may help or benefit their horse, which is going to help benefit Project Hope at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, I think the union, together with all the advice and knowledge that you and Peter have between the two of you, I don't know how many years that would be combined, but I'm sure it would be a lot. Have you figured it out?
Yeah, it's a lot. We've had the diet reviews, like the amount of interaction. And also what we pride ourselves on is we don't just stop with our knowledge. Like, we're continually looking at the latest journal articles, looking at what is new and innovative for horse health and nutrition, because we know in the human space it has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. And if we can try and find better ways to feed, or better ingredients, or something that helps a horse be better by 1 or 5 or 10%, then our job is very satisfying, because we know we're helping the lives of as many horses in Australia as possible. And even horse owners, as you said, we want you guys.
It gets back to that. Yeah, take the stress out of the horse's guts, and it takes the stress out of the owners too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we can try and do that nutrition thinking for you guys, so you guys can relax and enjoy your horse in whatever capacity you want them to be in terms of performance, or even just around the house. So it's a really exciting partnership that we have, Renée, with Project Hope, and we just hope we can continue it way into the future.
Well, I think, there's always going to be a need around for a welfare group like us, and there's going to be one big need for a nutritional company like Sen to be around for a long time. And
True.
Hey, maybe at the next Equitana in Melbourne, we can have our stand across from each other. That'd be fun.
I think that's a very good seed plant, and I think we will make that happen. It'll be very good. Yeah, that would be a good good bounce off each other. I think with all the little partnerships that Sen has, there might be a whole laneway of Sen's,
that'd be
of like Sen friends, and
we'll just make it the Sen aisle.
Lane,
Sen Lane. There you go.
With Guy McLean, Andrew McLean,
Equipad.
It's been
I'm glad you touched on Andrew McLean, because that's who we resort to for our behavioural assessments.
Yep.
We do use McLean's, and both Andrew and his brother John are McLean. So yes, that's the level that we look at for our behavioural assessments. So we're certainly making sure that we're doing everything in accordance with engaging the right people.
He's the world expert, and I'm like absolutely fascinated every time we talk, and especially on that podcast that we did. It's one of the most popular episodes, and I can understand that. I think I've even listened to it 5 times or 6 times because I just love learning about the horse, the little intricacies and little tips that you can get from understanding their behavior and the way they're made. Physiology wise, it's just incredible, as you say.
I think Andrew certainly has shaped my ways of managing a horse from its ability to how the ability is for a horse to learn. And I think for maybe 15, 16 years we've always followed his guidelines, and which is great. So it even makes us more aligned. Yeah,
fantastic resource. And I think that about wraps this one up, Renée. I think
awesome.
Yeah, it's nearly lunchtime. I won't get into any gin jokes at the moment, but
no, it's a little bit early.
It is, and it is only Thursday too. So
you've got to wait till tomorrow to have your gin.
Yeah, correct. But no, I can't thank you enough for your time today. I can't thank you enough for Project Hope Horse Welfare Victoria for having Sen part of being a member and a supporter, and we can't thank you enough for this opportunity.
Well, it goes both ways, and that's why it works well. So let's go for another 50 years, Bryan.
Yep. Yes, let's do it. And I'll leave all the links in the show notes to Project Hope Horse Welfare Victoria, the website, Ollie's story. I'll leave a few other links for any of our listeners that want to deep dive.
That would be great.
Yeah, and don't hesitate to reach out to us anytime, office, phone, email, even to Project Hope if you have any further questions for Renée.
Absolutely, we've got a good team that takes care of the 1300 number. So as you said before, no question's a silly question, and we'd rather try and help people through a situation, and that's what we do.
Yeah, perfect. So thank you, Renée. That about wraps this one up, everyone. And we will have another podcast for you guys really soon, and hope you have a good day.
Thank you, Bryan. Look forward to hearing the podcast when it's up. It'll be shared around everywhere.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Bryan.